Okay, this is a little project I just finished up today, and what this is a Williams girls train engine, and like all Williams products, it's very well made, runs beautifully, and like I say, if you're just not interested in collectible type trains and you want a good value for the money, you could do worse than buy a Williams train. Now, ever since Bachmann took it over, they're kind of less of a value because first thing they did was raise the price, but that's the way it goes. So in any case, I got this train and I ran it, and the smoke output was just absolutely horrible. And what they have is one of these Sooth smoke units. And if you're not familiar with the Sooth smoke unit, it's a little there's a little element inside this tube, and you have to use really, you have to use a Sooth smoke fluid because other smoke fluids don't work very well, these things. But they kind of puff out smoke and they spatter, and I think more of the smoke fluids ends up on the train than being burnt. And plus, with the way this train runs with the DC can motor, they tend to run on lower voltage, so the smoke output for this thing was poor. You couldn't even see it smoke unless you sat there and held it in neutral and let it cook, which is ridiculous. So anyhow, I got wind of a technique for using a Lionel fan-driven smoke unit and sticking it in one of these Williams steamers. So I can't claim this is my idea, although I can claim my installation as my own. So what I've done is there's a lot of room up front in this train here. So what I did is I pulled the Sooth smoke unit out, which it just sits in the smokestack of the boiler, and it just pops out once you disconnect it. So what I did, this board here was mounted up here. So I needed to make room to put this fan-driven unit. So I removed this board. And what this board is, this was the power for the smoke unit and the headlight. And on this train, it's a constant voltage headlight. So what this unit is here is it's some rectifiers, and there's a full wave rectifier and a voltage regulator there, and a cap. So what that does is allow the headlight to stay the same brightness no matter what the voltage is. And I didn't check the output of the smoke unit, but the smoke unit seemed to vary with the voltage, the output, so I don't think the smoke unit was regulated. But anyhow, it doesn't matter. So what I did is I removed this. I made a little bracket here, this little brass bracket here, attached it to the original mounting hole and screw for the regulator unit, and got my height done. I machined up a little smokestack adapter to channel the smoke up through the smokestack in the boiler frame, and then I was able to mount the original regulator unit in the back here, right sort of on top of the motor, and it made for a pretty good installation. You know, I mean, Williams might want to look at doing something like this, because time and time again I hear the big disappointment of people saying their smoke output stinks. And you know, there's got to be some happy medium between, say for example, an MTH train that just pours out smoke and fills your room up in 5 minutes, versus some of these other trains that you get a couple wisps every once in a while, and it's disappointing. So this was pretty quick. It wires directly to the track power, which I put this little harness in here and wired it very nicely into the center rail pickup. I had to lengthen the harness for the headlight, which plugs in back here. So all in all, this came out pretty good. I didn't really alter anything on the original train. You could put it back to You could put it back to exactly original if you wanted to. There was no real alterations or damage to this thing. And although I'll never put it back, I'll be dead before that happens. All in all, it was a pretty quick and not too hard conversion. They talk about this, I think, on the web, and I don't think they show specifically how to do this. I wasn't able to find anything, so this is what I came up with. So in a couple of minutes, I'm going to reassemble this thing, and I'll send it around the layout a couple times so you can watch it smoke. Okay, I've got this engine all back together now, and I've done a little bit of tweaking on the smoke unit and whatnot. So here's what this thing does now. I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of smoke that pours out of this thing. So I'll send it around the layout, and then you can watch it run for a little bit.